Recording in progress.
Councilmember Fung, would you like to test your mic, please?
Can you hear me okay, Elaine?
Yes, we can. Thank you so much. And
Very
we'll just
well.
wait until the meeting starts.
Thank you.
Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the Millbrae City Council meeting of May 12th, 2026. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Fung,
Here remotely.
Councilmember Nguyen,
Here.
Councilmember Riley,
Here.
Vice Mayor Rinaldi,
Present.
Mayor Holober.
Present.
All members of City Council are present.
Okay, thank you. Will you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
To the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That's him on his microphone. I'm like, where's that coming from? Okay, the first item on the agenda is ceremonial presentations, and we have a proclamation proclaiming May 17th through 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Week. I believe Vice Mayor Rinaldi has that one.
Thanks, Mayor Holober. It's one of my favorite ones here. So let's see here. Whereas public works professionals focus on infrastructure, facilities, and services that are of vital importance to sustainable and resilient communities, into public health, high quality of life, and well-being of the people of the city of Millbrae. And whereas these infrastructures, facilities, and services could not be provided without the dedicated efforts of public works professionals, who are engineers, managers, and employees at all levels of government and the private sector, who are responsible for rebuilding, improving, and protecting our nation's transportation, water supply, water treatment, and solid waste systems, public buildings and other structures and facilities essential for our citizens. And whereas it is in the public interest for the citizens, civic leaders, and children of the city of Millbrae to gain knowledge of and maintain an ongoing interest and understanding of the importance of public works and public works programs in their respective communities. And whereas the year 2026 marks the 66th annual National Public Works Week, sponsored by the American Public Works Association, Canadian Public Works Association, with a theme rooted in service, powered by community. And now, therefore, we, the members of Millbrae City Council, do hereby proclaim May 17th and May 23rd, 2026 as National Public Works Weeks.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor. And we have many members of the Public Works Department here from the City of Millbrae present tonight, and also to accept the proclamation, Heather Ruiz, Senior Management Analyst and Public Works Department staff, if you'd like to say a few words.
Hello. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and council members. My name is Heather Ruiz, and I'm the Senior Management Analyst for the Public Works Department. I'm honored to represent the department and accept the proclamation for National Public Works Week tonight. This year's theme, Rooted in Service, Powered by Community, acknowledges that the roots of service run deep in public works. It's what has propelled public works innovations that have helped our communities evolve into places where people can live lives of purpose and possibility. Some work, like building roads and bridges, is highly visible, while other public works contributions, like maintaining water and sewer systems, are sometimes hidden from view. Together, these efforts form the foundation of thriving communities, reminding us that every project, seen or unseen, powers the connection between service and the people it supports. In honor of Public Works Week, we have a few events coming up that we'd like to share. First, we have the Public Works Expo, which will be held this Saturday, May 16th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the City Hall parking lot. You'll get to meet some public works crews, tour vehicles, trucks, and the tools our public works crew uses on site. There will also be a coloring contest for kids of all ages. This can be downloaded through the QR code or picked up at the rec center and at City Hall. 3 winners will be selected and announced and recognized at an upcoming council meeting. There will also be some refreshments served, so please bring your friends, family, and children to this amazing expo. Additionally, be on the lookout on social media, as we'll be highlighting public works throughout the week, giving folks inside knowledge on what we do. On behalf of the Public Works Department, I'd like to thank City Council for acknowledging the Public Works team for the hard work we do and for proclaiming May 17th to May 23rd, 2026 as Public Works Week. At this time, I'd like to acknowledge the Public Works staff who are here to join us today for the proclamation. So starting with our water division, I'd like to acknowledge Leonard Harkness, Joe Royas, and Brian Espinoza. In our sewer division, we have Chris Junio, Dave Bocelli, Brett Powell, Jan Maligasso, Kieran Saunders, and Joey Kulotu. From Streets and Storms, Chris Falzon, John Royas, Noel Gantley, Daniel Glick, Christopher Redmond, Brian Mulatto, and Jeffrey DeMorris. From Facilities and Garage, Joe Mendoza, Mike Martin, Juan Backup, Lance Poplila, Dave Martinez. From Parks, John Giannoli, James Mazza, Brigida Vega, Paul Neely, Phil Pfeiffer, and John Garcia. From Engineering, we have Ahmad Haya and Brandon Huang. Environmental, Andrea Papajohn. From our treatment plant, Stephen Carbajal and Sean Murray. And from Public Works Administration, it's myself and Jackie Medina. Again, thank you, City Council, for proclaiming May 17th to 23rd as Public Works Week. Thank you so much.
Good. Thank you very much. And yeah, it would be great if we could get a photo of everyone from the Public Works Department. We may have to do it outside because I don't, or back, yeah, or back here behind the dais if everyone would like to come gather around, get comfortable.
Yes. Saying I'm a rat? He's from Santa Clara too. I was like, where?
All right, everyone, don't be shy, get close, please.
Yeah, I know, so I already put the messages up on the message.
Okay. Next, we have a proclamation proclaiming May 2026 as Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. And I believe Councilmember Nguyen is going to give the proclamation.
Whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islander Heritage Month is recognized each May as a time to honor and celebrate generations of AAPI individuals who have enriched America's history, shaped its culture, and contributed to the progress of our society. And whereas the month of May was selected to commemorate two significant milestones, the arrival of the first Japanese immigrants to the United States on May 7th, 1843, and the invaluable contributions the Chinese immigrants to the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad on May 10th, 1869. And whereas the diversity within the Asian American and Pacific Islander communities reflect the multitude of languages, cultures, religions, and traditions that enrich the fabric of our society, fostering understanding, respect, and unity among all Americans. Whereas Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have made important contributions to science and technology, culture and the arts, and the professions such as business, law, medicine, education, politics, and economics. Their shared accomplishments and legacies are inspirational, significant, and celebrated part of American experience. And whereas Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month provides an opportunity for all Americans to learn about and appreciate the enduring legacy and profound impact of AAPI on the history and the future of the nation. And whereas the City of Millbrae encourages all residents to observe this month with activities that honor the heritage and contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to our communities. Now, therefore, we, the members of Millbrae City Council, do hereby proclaim May 2026 as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month.
Thank you. And we have with us Maggie Mui, board member, and Kenneth Zito, program coordinator, both from Self-Help for the Elderly.
Hi, hello, good evening. My name is Maggie, City Council, Mayor, Vice Mayor, City Manager, hi. Thank you very much for this proclamation. We are very honored, and especially during this month of AAPI month, we are very glad to partner with the city, and your cooperation, partnership, support, we greatly appreciate, especially the senior and the community. Today, I want to also like to say that this award is, this recognition, this proclamation, we are taking on behalf of Self-Help, but actually it's for the senior, the volunteer, the staff, the supporter, all of them make this happen, right? Because this is very important for everybody to take care of our senior. So thank you so much.
Hi, good evening, everybody. So my name is Kenneth Zito. I'm from Self-Help for the Elderly, and I'm the program manager. So today I'm surprised because I kind of thinking like I have been working for the Millbrae for a long time. I have cannot imagine like how can we have so beautiful city here and we have been like working so hard for this. How can it come into in this place right now? I think it's like a little by everybody, not only from the Asian, but everybody. But of course, I'm glad because we are part of the city also, and I'm glad like we have also all kinds of support from the city, from the council. Everybody have a great support for everybody. Besides the 2 days that you mentioned before, actually there's one more day I want to mention. In 1966, on August 16, actually this is the first day for Self-Help for the Elderly start to service to provide the nonprofit senior service to the Bay Area. So this year is our 60 years. And I'm glad, actually, I'm part of the Self-Help for the Elderly, and I'm also looking forward, we can bring more, like hopefully we can help each other to build a more beautiful city and in a better future. Thank you.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. Would you like to join us for a photo in the front? Okay, next we have a proclamation proclaiming May 2026 as Mental Health Month, and Councilmember Riley will give the proclamation.
Whereas mental health is a vital part of overall health and well-being, and every individual, regardless of age, background, or circumstances, deserves access to care, support, and resources to maintain and important their mental health. And whereas mental health conditions affect people from all walks of life, impacting individuals, families, schools, workplaces, and communities, underscoring the importance of compassion, understanding, and support. And whereas every day millions of people face stigma related to mental illness, causing many of face their mental health challenges alone for years. If left untreated, life expectancies are 25 years shorter than the general population, and whereas mental health and substance use conditions are treatable healthy conditions, and the people who have mental health and substance use conditions can recover and live full and meaningful lives. And whereas each May, Mental Health Month provides the opportunity for everyone to come together to eliminate mental health awareness and stop the stigma. Bringing forth this awareness to help people reach out for the assistance they deserve, and whereas every business, school, governmental agency, health care provider, organization, and the citizens share the burden of untreated mental health conditions and benefit greatly from promoting wellness and supporting prevention efforts. Now, therefore, we, the members of Millbrae City Council, do hereby proclaim May 26 as Mental Health Month. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have with us Frankie Anguiano, Community Engagement Counselor from the Peninsula Suicide Prevention.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Council members, City Manager, staff, and residents of Millbrae. I am Frankie Anguiano, and I use pronouns she, her, and I am the Community Engagement Counselor at Peninsula Suicide Prevention. Peninsula Suicide Prevention is committed to the goals of promoting wellness and recovery, enhancing public awareness and knowledge of mental health and substance use conditions, and eliminating stigma. Thank you to the City of Millbrae for proclaiming May 2026 as Mental Health Month. May Mental Health Month is observed across San Mateo County, California, and the United States. Lime green is the national color for mental health and represents how we want to bring a bright light to important issues that may be hidden or seen negatively. Mental Health Month is one of the best times of the year when we reduce stigma, connect people to services, and promote wellness for mental health and substance use conditions. For San Mateo County and statewide, the 2026 May Mental Health Month theme is Mental Health is Ours. This theme is a fundamental shift in how we approach well-being, that mental health is not a burden to be carried privately in silence, but rather shared community asset. As neighbors, coworkers, friends, and family members, we all have a stake in each other's wellness. Mental Health Month is important to me because as someone who has lived experience with mental health, it is important that we continue to normalize and end the stigma surrounding it. Starting today, I invite everyone to act on one or more of the following options. Number 1, wear a lime green ribbon. Wear one physically on your clothing or virtually on your social media profile. This can start a conversation to share your knowledge about mental health. Number 2, learn about mental health resources available to you by visiting 988lifeline.org. And number 3, attend or host a mental health awareness event in your community by visiting smchealth.org/Mental Health Month. Thank you so much to the Millbrae community for recognizing May Mental Health Month.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming tonight. And would you like to join us for a photo at the front? Okay, next we have a proclamation proclaiming May 2026 as National Historical Preservation Month. Whereas Preservation Month began as National Preservation Week in 1973, and in 2005, the National Trust for Historic Preservation expanded the celebration to encompass the entire month of May, offering more time to honor the rich and diverse heritage found throughout the cities and states of our nation. Whereas historic preservation plays a vital role in promoting community and economic well-being by revitalizing neighborhoods, supporting local tourism, generating employment, and enhancing property values, all while preserving the character and stories that shape our shared history. And whereas successful preservation efforts rely on the collaboration of local governments, nonprofit organizations, businesses, homeowners, and community members working together to identify, safeguard, and celebrate significant places and landmarks. And whereas the City of Millbrae honors its commitment to preserving local heritage, in 1985, the Millbrae Historical Society relocated the Spring Valley Water Company manager's house to the Millbrae Civic Center, where it proudly stands today as the Millbrae Museum, a symbol of community pride and historical stewardship. And whereas National Historic Preservation Month provides an opportunity to raise awareness about the importance of historic preservation and recognize the dedicated efforts of individuals and organizations who champion the preservation of our built environment. Now therefore, we, the members of the Millbrae City Council, hereby proclaim May 2026 as National Historical Preservation Month. And we have with us several members of the Millbrae Historical Society: Paul Larson, First Vice President; Tom Dottie, Historian and Carriage House Facilitator; and several others I see from the Historical Society, if you'd like to join at the podium and give a few words.
Thank you, Mayor Reuben and members of the City Council. Starting off, I'd like to congratulate you on your new position, and thank you so much for your actions as mayor with class and decorum. So you have been an inspiration. So thank you so much. Starting off also, I'd like to thank on behalf of our president, John Muniz, all of the trustees, including Ann Schneider, Tom Dottie, and Ray. Everybody's here. So, including Kathy Quigg and Dan Quigg, former mayor. I'd like to thank you all for being here, and also I'd like to thank the City Council and the City of Millbrae for this very, very honored proclamation. I'd like to also mention that the City of Millbrae has a very, very rich history. I'd like to invite everybody who is here tonight, and also everybody who's watching, that you're invited to our three museums: the Millbrae Historical Museum, the Carriage House, and also the Railroad Museum. And Vern might be able to tell us a little bit about that too. And also, if you want to look online, our website is millbraehs.org. We also have several Facebook pages, which have been very popular, including our newest one, Millbrae Historical Society, Carriage House, and Railroad Museum. Look that up on Facebook. But again, thank you so much. It's very, very much appreciated. And everything that you do is very, very much appreciated too. Anne, I think you wanted to say something.
Hi, thank you, City Council. Some people may have noticed that the El Rancho is going through some changes. For everybody that's been talking on Nextdoor, I want to thank both the city manager, Harry Burrows, who may have gone out with the Public Works people, and Ryan Miller, who is the lead employee for Millbrae, the new apartment complex coming in, for letting the Millbrae Historical Society get down on site where we have been scavenging plants and other bits and pieces for the last couple of weeks. And then the big news, most of us kind of grew up knowing that there was a statue that used to be at the mansion before it burned down, and that it was hidden somewhere at the El Rancho. Well, on Thursday, it is going to be moved, and we are grateful again for Hanover and the City of Millbrae and the Public Works staff for that. It is being videotaped by Millbrae Community Television in the hope that someday we might make a small documentary about the life and times of the El Rancho, a place that a lot of us had events at, where my grandfather as a cameraman for Universal stayed, because the crew stayed at El Rancho, the stars stayed in Hollywood, except Humphrey Bogart stayed there and Nixon stayed there. So we have a lot of history in that building. So it's been a team effort, kind of put together quickly to save all of that. The statue, and we'll have a test on this, is actually not Aphrodite like we've all been calling it. It's Hamadryade. She's a wood nymph on there. And she is actually a casting of an original sculpture that sits at the Louvre from 1708. So there's a lot of history with that statue. It will eventually find its place in front of the museum. The flagpole, I believe, is being removed on that. So again, just want to say thank you. I want to say thank you also to Carol Krasilnikoff, Santana, and John Muniz, who can't be here, we've all been down there digging up plants on that. Team effort, thank you so much. Look for more on the saving of the statue. Saving of the statue.
Yeah, hi, Vern Bruce from the Millbrae Train Museum, as I think most of you know. I just wanted to say that, congratulations, Reuben, on a wonderful short mayoralship here, and of course your previous ones. I want to also say that his mother, Nadia Holober, was also city mayor a few times and city councilwoman for quite a while. And she was instrumental in getting the train museum started. She pretty much connected me up with people that were so important, I'm surprised they'd even speak to me. But in any event, she got all the connections made for us to create the museum. So you've followed well in her footsteps. Thank you.
All right, well,
Thank you.
thank you all very much for joining us this evening, and if you'd like to join for a photo, that would be wonderful. Okay, moving along, we are going to go to item 2, agenda overview and staff briefing, and City Manager Williams will give the update.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Holober, members of the City Council, Tom Williams, City Manager. So a couple of things to bring to your and the community's attention this evening. First and foremost, summer is almost upon us, and parents and guardians start thinking about summer camp. We always have a great one through our recreation department. Summer camps are held at Taylor Middle School, starts June 8th through July 31st. There are summer camps available for ages 6 through 11. Registration is now open, and if people register before July 1st, there's early bird pricing. After that, the price does increase. Our summer camps are very popular. It's first come, first serve, and they do fill up, and there's waiting lists. So I do encourage parents and guardians, if they're interested in our summer camp, to register early. Also, next slide, please. I think everyone is aware now of all the major construction down El Camino Real through Burlingame, a little bit of impact here in the city of Millbrae. We just wanted to keep this on everybody's radar to sign up for notifications. through either the QR code or our website. We do have information. Traffic impacts and the circulation patterns change almost on a daily basis. And the QR code and notification will help you navigate the construction and detours from, or actually through Burlingame on El Camino and California Drive. Next slide. A project that I had mentioned at the last meeting, starting last week, the week of May 4th, the intersection of Lomita and the Spur Trailhead is under construction for the removal of very hazardous eucalyptus trees. You can see them here on the slide on the left. Some of the trees have started to be removed, and the eucalyptus trees there have been very dangerous. We'll also be regrading that hill for stabilization. So as I mentioned, there'll be temporary impacts expected for both trail users and nearby residents and vehicles. We just wanted to bring this to everybody's attention so they're aware of the traffic control. Sometimes a lane may be shut down, and just ask everyone for their patience as we make this improvement. So you can also sign up for road closure notifications on our website or through this QR code up on the screen. Also, as I think everyone notices, is all the construction out here on Magnolia and throughout the city. This is a fiber optic cable installation by a company called IIG. This is through the Federal Communications Commission, this work. It's pretty significant, and I wanted to bring this again to everyone's attention. IIG is installing fiber cable throughout the city. As I understand, this project actually started in Chicago, traversed the United States to Seattle, and through Northern California down to Southern California. So it is a massive infrastructure project, and as you can see, the construction work that's going on, this is right at the intersection of Magnolia and Library Lane. So again, wanted to put that on everybody's radar. A lot of traffic control and be careful out there with pedestrians, and it can get busy and congested. Also, we just completed an improvement at Laurel and Cypress, a pedestrian crossing near Green Hills Elementary School. The picture on the far right is the raised median. The two pictures on the left and the center are the newly installed lighted pedestrian crosswalk. This is, again, a project that we had brought to the city's council attention several months ago. It just takes a while to get the parts and the signage and everything in, but that has been installed. It was completed just a couple of days ago. So we're continuing to make these improvements around elementary schools and improving pedestrian and vehicular circulation. Also, I'll bring to the council's attention before I get to this slide, we've also ordered the same lighted crosswalk signals for the intersection of Poplar and Millbrae Avenue, right where the skate park is and the fitness court, and further up Millbrae Avenue at Palm and Millbrae Avenue. So we'll have lighted crosswalks. These are solar panel operated at Poplar and Millbrae Avenue and Palm and Millbrae Avenue. Good for the high school students and people that access the skate park and the fitness court. Okay, this slide is at the corner of South Ashton and Sequoia. Public Works just completed a repaving and repair project, a valley gutter at this crosswalk. Very, very important to continue with our improvements with storm drain. So this recently completed project included striping work at the intersection, as well as the crosswalk that you can see and the stop sign crossbar. So another nice project by our Public Works Department at that intersection. All right, a few upcoming events. This used to be known as Bike to Work Week or Bike to Work Day. It's now Bike to Wherever Day. Millbrae is hosting that on Thursday, May 14th from 7:30 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. This will be on the southbound Caltrain platform. There'll be free bicycle bags with a shoulder strap, fun giveaways, and other bicycle advocacy information, water, and I think also some protein bars. So this is May 14th, Bike to Wherever Day, 7:30 to 9:30 on the southbound Caltrain platform here in the city of Millbrae. Also, as I mentioned, this Thursday, May 14th, starting at 6:30, there is a Chilean film screening, movie called Evergreen Abundance. This is in partnership with our sister cities and the Consul General of Chile out of San Francisco. This film is a documentary that showcases the deep connection between people and the edible forests of Chile, highlighting sustainability efforts by the younger generation to protect the environments. The showing is free and open to the public. So that's this Thursday, May 14th, 6:30 p.m. at the Millbrae Recreation Center. Also coming up, our Business Improvement District, we have a town hall meeting Tuesday, May 19th. We have 2 sessions. They're the same sessions, just different time to accommodate the business owners and property owners of downtown and the general public that's interested. So the first session is 12 p.m. noon to 2 p.m. The second session is that same day, May 19th, from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So people are invited to help re-examine the Millbrae Business Improvement District, choose between each of the 2 town hall meetings that are available on that date. They can also join us virtually for the session and come learn more about what we're trying to unveil here with the Business Improvement District to improve downtown. Lastly, we have a Youth Education and Information Forum. This is scheduled for Saturday, May 30th at 1 p.m. at the Millbrae Recreation Center. This is hosted by Youth Advisory Committee, as well as our Youth Advisory Committee liaison, Councilmember Sissy Riley, have put this together. So youth are invited to a 2-hour Youth Education and Information Forum. The youth in attendance can connect with knowledgeable instructors covering public speaking, trade careers, college applications, and scholarship. And ice cream will be provided, so there's an incentive for the youth on Saturday to move there. And if I sound like I'm lisping or stuttering, I actually took a bite of hot food and have a blister on the roof of my mouth, so I'm talking a little funny, I think, so, in case anybody was wondering. Mayor, that concludes my update this evening.
Okay, thank you very much, City Manager Williams. Okay, we'll now go to item 3. This is the approval of the minutes from April 28th, 2026. I did provide one very minor correction to the city clerk earlier today, so that was fixed. Just a typo, misspelling. Any other comments on the minutes? Or is there a motion to approve? Okay. There's a motion from Vice Mayor Rinaldi, a second from Councilmember Nguyen. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Fung,
Aye.
Councilmember Nguyen,
Aye.
Councilmember Riley,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rinaldi,
Yes.
Mayor Holober.
Aye.
The meeting minutes of April 28th passed by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, we will now move on to item, the public communication. This is the opportunity for any member of the public to speak on any item that is not on this evening's agenda. Speakers have up to 3 minutes, and topics must be within the purview of the City of Millbrae. We'll start with in-person speakers, if there are any slips. Okay. The first speaker is Ken Smith.
Good evening, Mayor and Vice Mayor and staff. Always a pleasure to be up here and give you some thoughts. First of all, I just wanted to really thank Reuben stepping up. We were really unsure in District 3 what was going to happen, and Reuben, out of the kindness of his heart, stepped up, even though he had a pretty busy life already. So I would like to give Reuben a little applause for everything he's done at the last minute for us. I mean, your wisdom, your steadiness, I really appreciate the way that you can take our feedback and articulate it in a way that we can all understand. And so once again, you will be truly missed. We understand that you have other obligations that take priority over us, and that's okay, and that's just the way life goes. My second thought was I look forward to Vice Mayor Stephen Rinaldi moving into the mayor position and his vision and leadership coming forward for us. I think that Stephen has a very solid head on his shoulders, lots of common sense, and I think he'll do a great job for the City of Millbrae and filling in for the rest of Reuben's term. And then when we come to our proper rotation in 2027, that he moves directly into the mayor role. So anyway, I really appreciate it. I just want to get that on the record. Thank you very much, Reuben, again. I really appreciate it. And I have all the confidence in the world that Stephen Rinaldi will do a great job. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. And that is an agenda item later today, so, but thank you. Okay, the next speaker is Marian Kong.
Thank you. I'm so proud. I'm so fast to get called. Anyway, couple thoughts I have tonight. I want to thank the city government, Tom Williams and his staff, to help us to mitigate the traffic challenge at the development behind the Pancake House. Wonderful job. The speed bump, perfect. You know, it had lights at nighttime, perfect. Thank you very much. And then for the comment on the BID meeting, that's wonderful. We're having that, but I don't know if the city aware of. A lot of restaurant businesses have Tuesday off every week. And then the time from 12 to 2, 4 to 6 is the prime hour for them to prepare their lunch and dinner. Just a thought. And then the third one is, thank you, Reuben. Thank you so much. Since I know you since you're a child, but thank you so much coming out the second time to serve our community. I really, really appreciate it. And then I'm just going to wish you best luck to your new ventures. And then so now, can I have everybody applaud? Not like last time, you say no applauding. Anyway, please give it an applaud again. Say thank you, Reuben. Thank you, that's all I have.
Thank you very much, Marian. Okay. Seeing no other speaker slips and no raised hands on Zoom, public comment is closed. So we will now move to existing business, item number 5, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or their designee to execute an agreement with the City of Burlingame for the Murchison Drive bicycle route improvements. And we have with us City Engineer Ahmad Haya to give a presentation.
Thank you. Good evening, Honorable Mayor and Council. Ahmad Haya, City Engineer, here to present the agreement with City of Burlingame regarding the bicycle route improvements on Murchison Drive. Next slide, please. Brief background, Murchison Drive is a shared roadway between the City of Millbrae and City of Burlingame. In 2022, City of Burlingame received grant funding and proceeded with the design of bicycle lane improvements on Murchison Drive as part of the Murchison Drive, Truesdale, and Davis Drive Bicycle Improvements Project. Very important to note that the middle of the road, right in the middle, is the jurisdictional limits between the two cities, as the photo shows. On the left side or the south side is Burlingame, and on the right side or the north side is Millbrae. Next slide. This slide here presents the project limits. It extends all the way on the western side from Sequoia Avenue, extends past Mills High School, and continues on to El Camino Real, and ends on California Drive on the eastern edge. Next slide. It's important to note that there's already bicycle improvements that were conducted recently by the City of Millbrae from California Drive all the way to Magnolia. The image on the left shows between California to El Camino Real with a Class 3 bike route, and then the image on the right is a Class 2 bike lane between El Camino Real and Magnolia. This was built in 2019. It was only built on the Millbrae side. Next slide, please. This image here is a rendering from right near the high school. It's about a 64-foot right-of-way. And it shows the existing roadway without any bicycle improvements. Next slide is the same image now with bicycle improvements. It shows the buffered bike lane. It's a Class 4 with the 6-foot bike lane. And then on both sides of the street, the 2.5-foot buffer on both sides of the bike lane, and then the parking is on the adjacent to the curb, so there's no parking loss as a result of this project. Next slide, please. The proposed agreement is has the City of Burlingame continue as the lead of the project for this project for design, inspection, and construction. The City of Millbrae would reimburse Burlingame for half of the cost of the project on Murchison. And as you may recall, the City County Association of Governments, or CCAG, recently approved reallocating $100,000 in grant funding that Burlingame has received for this project so that we could contribute to this project. And it is contingent on the City of Millbrae entering into an agreement with the City of Burlingame. Next slide. The proposed cost share. Based on recent bid that Burlingame conducted, they estimate the bike lane improvements as well as some crosswalks that would be installed is about $208,000. So that means Millbrae's share would be $104,000. There is an optional items to add a bulb out at the intersection of Magnolia and Murchison. That's estimated to cost $96,000. Millbrae's share will be $48,000. Construction management, inspection, and design support is estimated to cost $118,000. And there's a construction contingency of $76,000 for anything that's unforeseen or additional work that may come up during construction. So the total project cost is $498,000, and the City of Millbrae's share is $249,000. It's important to note that these are all estimated costs, and actual costs will vary based on what's actually constructed. And the $249,000 already includes the $100,000 from the grant. So the net impact to the streets fund is $149,000. Next slide. As mentioned, the project has already gone through procurement. There was a bid opening in end of March. And last week, City of Burlingame awarded a contract on May 4th to Redwood Contractors. They expect the contractors to begin work in next month in June. And the duration of the contract is 3 months. So the expectation is to have this project completed by September. With that, I'm happy to receive any questions or comments.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Haya. Any comments or questions from the council? Yes, Councilmember Reuben.
Thank you, Ahmad. Very informative. My questions are mainly around risk or risk management, especially in the long term. There's a couple of categories I took notes on. One is cost uncertainty, maintenance discontinuities, lead agency control, design reversibility, if that does happen, termination clauses, and liability ambiguity. So those are just kind of high-level things. If you have considered it, great, but could you comment on some of those items?
So the construction cost is memorialized to be contributed by both shares, with Burlingame fronting the cost and Millbrae sharing it. Ultimately, for maintenance, it'll be each city will be responsible for their own share for long term. So that is the expected out of the agreement.
Do we have cost caps for between us and Burlingame? I'm just curious, like for any long-term maintenance, are there caps on that, or what happens if there's something big that does occur?
We have contingency if there's constructions, and so we've built into there about $76,000 if there's unforeseen conditions. Next slide, yeah, about $76,000. So that is the extent. We've told them that we expect our budget is about $250,000, and they managed to stay within that limit. So this is the scope of work. There may be some additional paving or other things, but this based on the conditions of the roadway, but the intent is to stay within this dollar amount.
And just one last question. The change order process, is that kind of well mapped out between us and Burlingame for something, especially something big or unanticipated? What would that look like?
We will participate in the project meetings, but they are going out to hire a consultant for construction management. They would be giving recommendations in regards to the validity and the appropriateness of paying for change orders that may come arise. It is a relatively small project. We don't expect too many changes. It's mostly striping, road surface, so there's not major excavations underneath the roadway that would lead to too many surprises. The main concern is the conditions of the roadway, making sure it looks appropriate, and put paint on sound pavement.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just real quick for the council members, additional information. If it looks like there's an anomaly or something in the project that's unforeseen and the $249,000 is going to be exceeded, or we anticipate, we'll be bringing that to the city council for review and approval. We will not exceed $249,000 without city council authorization.
Vice Mayor Rinaldi.
Thanks. And just for public's information, this project was already in the CIP beforehand, before we got this grant. Do you remember what year in the CIP it was?
It's in the current CIP, this current cycle.
So this one. But
Correct.
before we got the grant, this project for a bike lane on the street, Murchison, was prior in the CIP, correct?
Yeah, it's in the current CIP, but it was contingent upon getting the funding.
Okay.
So if we didn't get the
fantastic.
funding, we wouldn't bring the project forward.
Got it, got it. I just want to emphasize that, funding was given to us. This was something that was already in the books, and really grateful to CCAG for a $100,000 grant.
And yeah, speaking of it being in the books, it's also in our active transportation plan. So both cities had this in their bicycle route improvements. It's in our master plan for bicycle route.
Yeah, and one last thing I wanted to emphasize here, the reason why we got the grant, originally CCAG had issued a grant to Burlingame, which included a safe routes to school, and they couldn't fulfill that obligation to the grant, so hence the reason why we're doing this safe route to school to Mills with this grant. Thanks.
Thank you very much. And just for clarification on that, the $400,000 TDA 3 grant that Burlingame was awarded, was the entire amount forfeited?
No, only $100,000.
Okay, but that's for an unrelated project?
No, it's part of this project. When they decided not to do bicycle improvements on Truesdale Drive, CCAG withdrew $100,000 from those funds. They kept it as part of the project and came to us, and then we came to them and we said, hey, can we use this as part of this project? And they were willing to give it to Millbrae as long as we were using it on this project.
Okay, but just for clarification though, Burlingame, their total cost is $249,000, but they were awarded $300,000 for this?
Yeah, that includes the Davis Drive, and there are still some other improvements on
Okay.
Truesdale as well.
Okay, but the entire Burlingame portion, I guess, would be funded by the grant, whereas for
Potentially.
Millbrae, only $100,000, okay. All right, Councilmember Riley?
I think this is a great project because help high school students and the people live around the area ride the bike safely. I'm fully support. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, not seeing any. No public comment either. We can entertain a motion to approve. Okay. Okay, there's a motion from Vice Mayor Rinaldi, a second from Councilmember Nguyen. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Fung,
Aye.
Councilmember Nguyen,
Aye.
Councilmember Riley,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rinaldi,
Yes.
Mayor Holober.
Aye.
Item number 5 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much. Look forward to this project. Next on the agenda, we have item 6, which is to receive an informational update on the paid parking management program. We have with us Project Manager Harry Burrows from HB Consulting, as well as Brian Shaw, the Project Manager from Kimley Horn, to give the presentation.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Again, Harry Burrows with the HB Consulting Group, Contract Project Manager for the city. Mr. Brian Shaw from Kimley Horn will not be joining us this evening, so I'll be giving the presentation this evening. So. All right, next slide, please. Yeah, so tonight, want to give a brief update on the progress that we've made on the parking program since we were last before the City Council in March. Tonight, this is just an informational item, and we're not seeking any direction or action from the council. So our efforts to date have included ongoing community and business outreach. We, in early April, held a farmers market kiosk where we sought input from residents, which garnered quite a bit of very good comments. Additionally, on April 27th, we had an open house focusing on the residential parking permit program within the city. We also are currently commenced the parking garage feasibility studies on 3 city-owned parcels that are listed here, which I'll get into more detail in my presentation in a moment. And then we will be bringing forward in June a package of municipal code ordinance updates and some other administrative items to help implement the parking program. Next slide, please. So as I stated, we had the farmers market kiosk in early April. Some of the concerns and comments were raised there are similar to what we received that are listed here with the residential permit parking open house that we held on April 27th. And even though this meeting was focused on the permit parking areas within the city, it was welcome. All residents of the city were welcome to attend and voice any concerns or comments. And just a brief overview of some of the comments are listed here. One of the major ones was echoing a need for additional enforcement of parking within the city. In particular, a request to have more boots on the ground in the future. Actually, people, in addition to what is being proposed for automated license plate readers, implement this new program, but to also complement that by having boots on the ground. Another issue that was raised of large concern is airport parking abuse. Folks parking in the neighborhoods, leaving their cars, calling Uber or taxi and going to the airport and then coming back and leaving their cars parked in front of residents. Permit parking system limits and fairness. What this is referring to is limiting the number of permits for each household so that there aren't households that get numerous permits, as well as continuing to enforce and monitor the number of guest permits that residents receive. Obviously, what was voiced in previous meetings, and I think the council has heard before, is there's ongoing concern of spillover once we implement paid parking downtown, spillover of parking into the residential neighborhoods. And then a little bit of comments related to virtual permits versus hang tags. Currently, our permit program within the residential areas, you get a tag from the city, you hang it on your mirror or put it on your dash. In the future, it will be virtual, meaning you can go online, input your license plate, and then the new system will have license plate readers that the enforcement folks will drive through the neighborhoods or walk through the neighborhoods and monitor the parking accordingly. Some of the opposition to the permit program included the concern that there might be some residents that don't have access to computers. So that's something that we'll need to consider when we implement the program with some of the more details. Next slide, please. So this is just a map, just for information, showing the existing permit parking areas. What's shown here in red and up above in the upper right in orange are the current permit parking areas. If you go to the next slide, one of the requests from, or several of the requests from the recent outreach has been to consider expanding the residential permit parking areas to what's shown here. And that includes that area in green up above, as well as to the south down to Palm Avenue and over towards Elder. Next slide, please. And then we continue to get comments and concerns or questions from some of the businesses downtown, and they pretty much echo what we presented last time, and the concerns are listed here. Primarily the need for short-term parking, very short-term parking, between 5 minutes and 30 minutes for folks that are coming to either dry cleaners or dropping off, picking up, deliveries to restaurants and pickups from restaurants. Next slide, please. One of the issues that arose at the open house, and we've talked about this previously as part of this program, is the need for downtown parking garage. And so these are the 3 lots that we're currently looking at for feasibility. What we're primarily doing right now is looking at each of these lots for what we call yield analysis. How many parking spots can we realistically get on each one of these parcels? And we're looking at several different scenarios. Obviously, we've got concerns, or there are concerns along the Magnolia lot due to height limitations. We've also got height limitations on the other parcels. We've got a higher height limitation on El Camino than we do on Broadway. So that creates a little bit of a challenge when you're looking at designing the parking garage there. The other challenge with the El Camino lot and the farmer's market lot are we've got an alley that bisects both of those parcels. And so in addition to having to bridge over that, where we need to also underground some of the overhead utilities in both of those locations. So a little bit of complications there that'll be considered when we look at the feasibility of those parking garages. And as shown on the next slide, this is some very preliminary feasibility work that we had done prior to engaging Kimley Horn on these. Again, these are just for illustrations, but this is a schematic showing what a parking garage could look like on the farmer's market site. The left-hand upper left is the first floor, showing the alleyway going through there. If you look at the lower right, that's a section through that garage showing where the alley would be. Again, the access through the alley for both of these parking garages is going to be high enough to get trucks, garbage trucks, and other large vehicles in there. We can't impede the access to the back of the businesses that are along those alleys. And just for reference, I show a photo there on the bottom left. This is in, many of you may know this is in downtown San Mateo. This is a parking garage. There's on both sides of the street. It bridges across. This is the height that we're looking at to allow commercial vehicles, garbage trucks, semi-trucks to go through there. Obviously, ours would be different because we would have garage floors above this, but this is just for illustration to show, you know, what it would look like as far as feasibility. Next slide, please. So some of the future actions that will be coming before the council in June. First meeting, we plan on bringing an ordinance package to the council to establish the paid on and off-street parking. The ordinance will establish, you know, the parking areas, rates and hours, fines and penalties, and other details. The other thing will be the establishment of a parking enterprise fund. And the enterprise fund defines where and what the parking reserves or revenues will pay for. They will go into the parking enterprise fund. They will not go into the general fund of the city. And the funds will obviously be used to offset the cost of the parking program itself, as well as hopefully fund the construction of the parking garages in the future as well. Next slide. So this is just a summary of some of the key dates. Again, here in first meeting in June, we'll bring the ordinance package to the city council. Also in June, after that, we'll be discussing with Caltrans the implementation of paid parking along El Camino Real. We will bring an informational item back to the city council in June prior to the issuance of an RFP for the parking management operator in July. We plan to issue that RFP. Then while the council is on recess in August, we'll be reviewing that and making recommendations and bring back an item in September, first meeting in September, to approve the parking management operator contract. And then after that, we will proceed into procurement and implementation of the parking program. So that's sort of a preview of coming attractions and an update on what we've done since we were last before you in March. So with that, I leave it open to any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Burrows. Any comments or questions from the council?
Mr. Mayor?
Okay, yes, Councilmember Fung.
Thank you. This is for city manager and also for Harry. What is the process of deciding and perhaps even issuing RFP for purpose of creating peripheral parking garages in any one of those, 3 lots that has been identified?
So the parking garage effort will be independent from the RFP that I just described. The RFP is really for the details of the paid parking program. That would be items such as, what system are we We'll identify what system we're going to use, kiosks versus parking meters, all of the hardware and software, and that'll be outlined, the requirements that'll be outlined in the RFP for the operator to come back to us. Again, the parking garage will be on a separate time frame in terms of study and implementation.
Right, but I guess my question is more pertains to not the RFP of the system, but rather the parking garages. I'm under the assumption that we've been talking about it for a good number of years now, as to how to perhaps look for opportunities so that we could work with the private sector to develop these parking structures, so that we can get more for the bang of the buck, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
So if there's a, public-private partnership opportunity here, what's the process going to look like?
No, good question. So like I described, the first is determining the feasibility of these parking garages on these sites, what yield there's going to be. Then the next step is identifying what the cost of the garage is going to be. And then the third step is looking at financing strategies. And I think that's what you're getting at, Councilmember Fung, is, what are the options and details as far as financing? Because we don't have, we're not going to generate enough funding, we believe, from the parking program to fully pay the debt service on a parking garage. So we're going to need to seek other avenues for payment, and that will be part of this analysis that Kimberly Horn is doing, is looking at all of those options. And we will be bringing those back to the City Council.
Do you have a timeline on that?
I don't have a specific timeline as I stand here, but it will be sometime later in the fall.
Yeah, because I think consistently, as part of our discussion with some of the business community downtown, some of the greatest challenge we're thankful that many new businesses are opening up, all the empty storefronts are gone, but their challenge now is, how do you make sure that those who want to visit our downtown, who wants to patronize our downtown, get to find parking within, say, 5-10 minutes before they get frustrated and not find parking. So, finding ways to increase our parking inventory would be just as essential in terms of part of our economic development effort here. So I think sooner rather than later, we need to somehow find a way to prioritize the parking garage discussion and how to move this forward.
Understood.
Okay. Thank you for that. Vice Mayor Rinaldi? Thanks, Mayor Holober. I just want to echo Councilmember Fung's comments. I think the parking garage is something that is needed for downtown to help alleviate some of the congestion, and also from a procurement process of finding the right vendor to work with and the construction timeframe's quite greater. So it's going to take a lot longer, cost a lot more to get those parking spots versus going to paid parking. So it'd be nice if we could do something within parallel to the paid parking program to try to help expedite the process as best as possible. So that'd be my request, if possible, if we could do that. Okay, thank you. Comments? Oh, Councilmember Riley?
Hey, thank you for bringing this to here. We desperately need a parking garage for our now and generations. Can you please bring back to the 3 parking lot? Okay, yeah, that another one.
Oh, go forward.
One is the farmer's market. One is the one near the U.S. Bank, right? Then one is the Magnolia. You mentioned, so the two, one has an alley, one is like shape is, so it's difficult to design for a garage. It sounds like the best choice is Magnolia, right?
There we go.
Oh, yes. So it's best choice is Magnolia, right? If we build a garage.
Well, so every one of these locations has challenges. Like I described, the challenge of the El Camino and the farmer's market lot is the alleyway that bisects them and the power lines. Magnolia Lot has challenges from a height standpoint. It's immediately adjacent across the street of Magnolia. We have single-family homes, and building a 5-6-story parking garage across from those family homes isn't consistent with our downtown specific plan, and probably not too desirable from a neighborhood standpoint either. So a parking garage there, what we're looking at is several different options, going subsurface potentially with at least one level, but that adds a lot of cost, as well as doing what we call, or what's called in the business, a wedding cake, where you have a lower floor adjacent to Magnolia and then step up the garage as you go back. Again, adds more complication and cost to a parking garage.
There's also alley access issues on Magnolia that I don't think have been really identified with the general public as well.
Magnolia, we don't have an alley though.
Eva, if you could go back to the previous slide. Thank you. Yeah, so behind where the FedEx is shown there, the FedEx and all of those businesses along that stretch, they have a rear, it's not really a drivable alley, but it's a walkable alley where they have garage or garbage bins and other things. So that's where the garbage trucks currently come along the Magnolia lot to pick those up. So any parking garage there, we will need to integrate into that design a drive aisle there to service the back of those buildings.
So 3 of them, all a challenge, but which one is less challenge?
That's what we're undertaking right now, is to figure out which one makes the most sense from not only a yield standpoint, but also from a cost standpoint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Reuben.
Thanks, Harry, for the report. My questions are around just clarification. We're going to have a new enterprise fund, right? If in this scenario?
Correct.
For parking? Okay. So is it realistic that this enterprise fund can cover all the entire cost? And if not, right, are there going to be other sources of funding, or what would that look like potentially?
Well, yeah, the goal of the parking, primary goal of the paid parking program is to increase parking turnover within the downtown core. Certainly, we don't want to implement a paid parking program that doesn't cover the cost of itself. So we haven't run those numbers yet. Our consultant hasn't run those numbers yet, but that's part of what will be coming forward to the council in the future. We will certainly want to cover the cost of operating the parking program. We're also very hopeful that it'll be priced and structured such that we do have additional revenues that can be used to help fund other items such as a parking garage. But we also know that whatever revenues, excess revenues we do achieve, they're not going to be enough solely to fund the garage. So we're going to have to seek other avenues of funding. And those might be, if a business improvement district does get approved, some of the funding from the BID might be able to go toward a parking garage. And like I answered earlier to Council Member Fung's question, we need to sort of open up the envelope of what are all the different various funding sources out there.
Is it also part of the work stream of this consultant to provide different scenarios? Just to your point, right? Like, let's say we can't cover certain areas through enterprise. Like, what would these scenarios look like?
Correct. That will be part of Kimberly Horn's, or is part of Kimberly Horn's task here.
I see. Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe just, as you're thinking about this, and as we pursue this over the next, several months, just on a $40 million project, if we were to issue revenue bonds on that, 4% over 30 years, the debt service is $2.3 million. So that would be the annual debt service just for the parking garage. Our anticipated revenue off the parking meters is somewhere between 1.5 to 2 million. So this is where the multiple forms of the financing plan and funding mechanism will be so critical. It could include public-private partnerships where we open up, the land that we have, the asset, which is very valuable, to mixed-use public-private partnership, for example. But to be determined, but these great questions, and as we evolve this, we will be in front of the city council quite frequently as this major plan evolves.
And Eva, if you could just forward to the next screen. Yeah, so just to add to that, and again, this is a very conceptual study that was done, but if you look at the ground floor of this parking garage, there's certain inefficiencies in a parking garage when you have to build the ramps up to clear the alley. But what's shown here, and again, very conceptual, those areas in blue are potential commercial spaces. So, for example, if a garage such as this were constructed, the city would have the ability to lease out those commercial spaces and get some additional revenue from those that could help pay for the parking garage.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, Councilmember Fung.
Thank you. Certainly, I think those are all, important considerations, how to find ways to economize and take greater use in terms of where more useful real estate can be to help pay for some of these costs and offset some of these costs. And as we look at these parking garages, which certainly would increase the parking inventory, and that in itself is going to increase the ability for debt service, because now all of a sudden you have more parking space. And that also alleviates some of the parking needs of some of the nearby new developments along Broadway, El Camino Real, and therefore, potentially on some of the new developments, if they need parking, they could pay into our parking trust funds to obtain parkings inside these parking garages, so that the developments don't need to provide parking on site, and we will be able to get these opportunities for parking trust funds to lease out these long-term parkings to some of the nearby newer developments. So, I think it's about finding ways to make sure that there is a workable economic model to increase the parking inventory, and certainly often, obviously augment that with a pay parking program that would help turn over our existing parking to make sure that we are able to service our downtown businesses. And again, the whole goal is to allow those who want to come to downtown be able to find parking within, 5-10 minutes without having to drive, 3-4 rounds on Broadway and not finding parking and get frustrated and leave. So that's the purpose of it. And I think, we have more than enough ideas on the table that, that we could make this work. And obviously, building parking garages is high on our priorities in terms of economic development. And it does take a while for, these partnerships to be built and the garages to be built. So, it would be a good idea for us to look at the timeline and prioritize this effort.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Rinaldi? Thanks. I realize that there's not an action on this agenda item tonight. It's purely informational. And going back to some of the comments that you had made earlier, Harry, you're anticipating Kimberly Horn would look at this for a parking garage in fall. So my question to city staff would be, is there any reason we can't have you guys kind of expedite that process with the consultant? Because it looks like, they need to look at the yield analysis, the cost, financials, all the different scenarios that could probably fund this thing. Why not try to push this forward and have a consultant work with us sooner than later so we can approve it on a council level and put that consultant to work? And
Yeah, just to clarify, the consultant has commenced the studies now, so it's not like we're waiting to start them. The timeline I gave was that by the time we do the feasibility analysis, the cost analysis, and the financing options, it's going to be several months. But we can certainly expedite that and bring it forward as quickly as we can. But just to clarify, it is ongoing as we speak.
got it. So then your comment about fall, was that when you were anticipating a consultant would be done and come back with results?
Correct.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and I think the challenge that we're going to have in front of us is not not can we construct a parking garage on those 3 sites? We can. I mean, we've done the preliminary analysis. It does fit. As Harry mentioned earlier in his presentation, it's what is, and I think as Councilmember Riley said, you know, what is the easiest path? So there's the physical engineering, but then there's also the funding. And I mean, I'm anticipating kind of move ahead a month or so. The only way we're really going to be able to do this is really through a public-private partnership. I don't think there's going to be enough revenue through a parking impact fee, through parking meters. That will be an augmentation of the funding, but it's going to be some type of a creative public-private partnership to build out the site that has maybe a residential, commercial component, other parking storage that, you know, maybe a private company needs. The asset, you know, the valuable asset that we have is we have the land, and that's key. But I do see some type of public-private partnership coming to fruition. And that will be part of this process as we evolve it between now and the fall. The fall will be kind of the final decision time period once all of this is vetted and studied and worked out with the council through this process.
Okay, thank you all for those comments. You know, it's, I wish I could continue on the council going forward with this, because there's a lot of important, you know, critical path decisions that have to be made over the next several months, you know, with starting with what's the charge going to be for parking, you know. It needs to be enough that we're encouraging turnover and we're not subsidizing the program, while at the same time, you know, people don't feel like they're getting ripped off by the city, that it's, you know, really a customer-friendly experience. And, you know, where exactly I think the conceptual map for now, I think is a good plan of where we would place it, starting in the downtown and then expanding to the El Camino corridor. But then with the garage, you know, there's a lot of challenges, questions that have come up that I think everyone's going to have to grapple with going forward. You know, it sounds like, and just to clarify, the 1.5 million estimated revenue, that ballpark figure, that's with the existing parking inventory, right? That's not the revenue that would be generated from the garage itself, right?
Correct. That is.
So that would be, you know, essentially, you know, all of the parking spaces on Broadway and other side streets subsidizing the garage somewhere else, which is generally not what you want to do. You want the asset to pay for itself, right, over time. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what other creative financing ideas there are. You know, I think a public-private partnership is a good idea, although, you know, if part of the site is developed, then that means there's less availability for, you know, parking spaces in that site. But that'll be an interesting thing to consider going forward. And you certainly aren't going to want to use, you know, the general fund to subsidize debt service for a parking garage going forward. We do have, let's see, some speaker slips here. So we'll go to public comment. We'll begin with Ken Smith.
Very nice presentation. Thank you very much. I think you got everybody's comments from the open house when we were there. It was a really great presentation and a lot of great information. So honestly, we have two problems, right? We have turnover and we have a parking shortage. And so I guess from my perspective and from a lot of people I've spoken to, the parking shortage is definitely a challenge that I think Millbrae is really going to have a hard time accomplishing because of just the general cost of the garage. Was it maybe $50,000, $60,000 per spot? But, you know, I don't think a lot of public even understands how much it costs to put up a parking garage. The second issue is, honestly, is that the revenue coming from the paid parking is not a lot for the city, honestly. It's peanuts, honestly. From your operating budget, it won't offset a lot, especially for the area that's not going into general fund. With that being said, I think it would be far more effective, and thank you for the boots on the ground, I appreciate that. Boots on the ground, old-fashioned style parking and monitoring probably would be a great asset to us. And I don't think we really need the charge. I think if you have the meter person going around being a conduit between the business owners, the public coming into downtown, city staff, putting tickets on windows, I think that's going to be far more effective. And have we done a survey to 6, 7 cities that have parking programs that are with what we're talking about as an automated program? Have we actually found out how other cities are doing? Does their public like it? How's the council feedback come? Do we really want, I really want my council members to really think hard on this before we move forward on a program that we can't get out of. I think that, again, maybe low tech might be our best solution. I think a lot of people appreciate being able to park and not have to pay here in Millbrae. If we do, the other issue is that we have very strong restaurant business here in the evening, and I think sometimes that gets overlooked too. We definitely have struggles on Friday and Saturday night for parking. So that enforcement on those hours, maybe like to 8 o'clock or something like that on Friday and Saturday night, should be looked at too. Again, I understand that using technology to solve problems is always a solution that looks favorable, but maybe at some point, low tech is the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Next speaker is Ann Schneider.
Hi, Ann Schneider, Palm Avenue, 400 block. I apologize that I missed that special meeting to reach out to the neighborhoods, but I grew up on Palm Avenue and have lived there again now for the last 20 plus years on that. Make no doubt, when you put metered parking downtown, you're going to drive more people up into the neighborhoods, whether it's my neighborhood, the other side of El Camino, or Park and Park. And when you say that the meters are bringing in money, you're actually pushing a lot of the pain and the cost onto those residents without anything to solve the problems that we already have. If an airport parker, which happens in front of my house all the time, parks, you have to wait 72 hours before they can get tagged, and then they get a few more days. Why can't the city start looking at fixing that? I've already done the research. Waymo is using Palm Avenue to reposition cars from 280 down to the airport, parking in Millbrae so that they can get to the airport quickly. Got to fix that problem. Whether you've got Waze, or the other cut-through things, we've got traffic. When these people are trying to find parking, they're doing 3-point turns. I just got new bumpers on my Prius. I park in a driveway that I can't get out of the car because it's that steep and it has walls. But I will not park on the street because everybody does a 3-point turn in front of my house to park around the park. You can't park near the park because the apartments there have too many cars per apartment. Where's the transportation demand management program for the restaurants downtown, for the apartments in there? I understand the need for a parking garage. I do not understand, nor do I accept the need to push this out into the neighborhoods without sitting down with each one of us saying, here are our problems, here are our solutions to fix those problems, because it is a problem every day. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Vernon Bruce.
Hello, hello again. Yes, most of you know, because I've been here once or twice regarding parking there. I've been doing this for a few minutes anyway. A couple things I'd like to address that were addressed earlier. On the Downtown Process Committee that I've been a member of for a long time, it was named that about 15 years ago when we studied thoroughly parking garage, particularly at Magnolia. We never anticipated anything larger than a 1-story above ground parking garage there. 1 below grade, 1 at grade, and 1 above grade, which would be lower than several of the homes that were taken away 70 years ago to build that parking garage. So basically a 3-level garage, we figured would be about 2.5 times the amount of parking that the current lot has. More than sufficient for most of downtown, at least to significantly help out. Second thing, I still never hear anything about sales tax revenue generated by increased parking. That would definitely be probably exceeding any parking fees that you get around town, or whether you even just charged for parking in the garage. Garage could also be used as paid permit parking for the employees, freeing up more of the prime spots that are in front of our businesses in downtown. That would be speaking from a business that's been there for 48 years in that downtown. Thank you. Again, I don't want to hear the Jeopardy alert go off there for the game show.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bruce. Okay, seeing no other speaker slips and no raised hands online, public comment on this item is closed. Any final comments, questions from the council? Okay, seeing none, looks like this is an informational item, but I think a lot of good feedback and certainly a lot of work that is going to need to be done over the next few months, and I wish everyone well in getting that done and implementing a successful program here.
Yeah, Mayor, just a few quick closing comments here, and a lot more to come. I mean, we know that we have a parking problem, a parking supply problem, and I think, through this process, it's an education. Parking meters were invented 1935 or so for the very reason to encourage more parking turnover in congested downtowns. There's been hundreds, thousands of studies throughout the world that paid parking meters turn a parking space over 4 to 7 times more than just time limited parking. The parking meters are low tech. The technology that we are talking about is an efficient way to actually enforce the meter, right? And so how can we take advantage of technology to be more efficient to enforce the meter? And so that's where the technology comes from. But there is a lot of, as we heard tonight in other meetings, still a lot of information gathering, a lot of feedback from the business owners, the community. And this is a process. I think everybody knows that we've got to fix the parking problem in downtown, add to the supply and add to the turnover. So more to come. There are a lot of studies on this. We are not reinventing the wheel. We're not making up a new wheel. So we can share that information in detail as we proceed.
Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to item 7. Receive an informational report on California's new data lighting law, AB 413. Informational item, and city engineer, CIP manager Ahmad Haya will give a presentation.
Again, hello again, Ahmad Haya, city engineer. Here to give an informational update on California Assembly Bill 413, also known as AB 413, or the daylighting law. Next slide, please. So AB 413 was passed by the legislature and signed by the governor in October 2023, and it went into effect fully on January 1st, 2025. The daylighting law is a measure aimed at improving road safety for drivers, pedestrians, and bicyclists. The new law focuses on increasing visibility at intersections to reduce collisions and near misses by removing parking. Whether you're a driver, a pedestrian, or a cyclist, understanding the law will help everyone navigate our roads and lead to a better, safe, and legally compliant community. Next slide. What is daylighting? It's a safety concept to increase visibility at roadway intersections. It removes parked vehicles near crosswalks to clear sight lines. It prevents pedestrians from having to move forward or peek into the street before crossing into the traffic. And the goal is to reduce vehicle-pedestrian collisions by up to 30% by a recent Federal Highway Administration study. Next slide. The 20-foot rule. The 20-foot rule comes from California Vehicle Code section 22500. It prohibits parking within 20 feet of a marked or unmarked crosswalk, as seen on the image on the right. On the approach side, 20 feet of parking spaces will be removed. That's 20 feet is about the length of about 1.5 cars. And it's you can see it's all for both, all intersections, all approaches, whether it's a crosswalk or not crosswalk. There's no crosswalk on the north and western side or the upper and left side. And then there's a crosswalk on the right side. We do have red markings or red curbs on this image. It's important to note that it doesn't have to be, by law, it doesn't have to be marked with red curbs. Next slide. How it applies. Again, it applies to both unmarked and marked crosswalks. And to be issue citations, it doesn't even require red paint or any signage. There is an exception or a reduction of 15 feet for areas where there is a bulb or curb extension recognized by law. These are areas where the crosswalk is reduced, so pedestrians have raised or improvements that lead them go further into the intersection, and that allows them to see and better see the intersection. So in these areas, it's been reduced to 15 feet, so that's the only exception to the 20-foot rule. Next slide, please. The impact on the local community, the positive impacts are it encourages safer walking and it provides a safer walking environment for schools in high traffic areas and helps drivers see cyclists and small children and vice versa. Next slide. As being implemented right now, it's a state mandated local initiative, so there's no state funding is tied to this law, but we are implementing this already. There is a handful of select locations that we've already put red curb, which was funded through the city operating funds. The city will continue to implement daylighting over an extended period of time as deemed appropriate, using Measure A and W funds, as well as any funds from the citations. We will prioritize areas such as high-volume intersections, parks, schools, and the downtown areas. Next slide. And with that, I'm happy to take any of your questions, comments.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Haya. Any comments or questions from the council on this? Yes, Councilmember Nguyen.
Have we done any analysis on how many parking spaces we'd lose with the repaving? Or sorry, repainting, sorry.
Yeah, it's about a car length, but no, overall we have not calculated it. There's about 350 intersections in the city, and there's about 4 legs per approach, so there'll be a lot of painting. So, but it does impact, it's already into effect based on the law. Based on that, there is a significant impact on parking, and that's the intent of the law.
I see. So maybe that's something we need to take into account for the last agenda item, is this daylight law. Thank you.
Yeah.
Other comments? Oh, Vice Mayor Rinaldi.
Just a real quick comment. Just want to thank city staff, engineering for focusing around the schools and the high critically traveled areas. I know feedback from the schools and the PTA members has been fairly positive. And also your thoughtfulness not to eliminate all those spots that aren't right around those areas too are very much appreciated by the residents. So thanks.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, just to echo that, you know, I think obviously we're not going to repaint every intersection in the city. I don't think that would make sense. So I think, you know, in terms of enforcement, my recommendation would be to focus on the, painting and then enforcement in the high visibility areas like around schools, close to the downtown, the areas identified in the staff report. And, although it's the state law does not require the curb to be painted to do enforcement, I would recommend not doing enforcement in areas that aren't painted unless if it becomes a serious issue in certain intersections. Of course, you can always go and paint them, but I think you'll get a lot of complaints if people get a ticket and if they weren't aware of this new law. Okay. No other comments, questions from the council? Okay, and no public comment either. So seeing none, thank you for the presentation. And we will move on to the next agenda item, item 8, adoption of a resolution authorizing the city manager or their designee to execute a memorandum of understanding between the city of Millbrae and the city of San Bruno for collaborative community events. We have with us Hannah Moran, the recreation director, to give a presentation.
Right, so good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council members. So the subject of this agenda item is community events, partnership between the City of Millbrae and the City of San Bruno. Go ahead to the next slide. So again, tonight we're here to present a memorandum of understanding between the City of Millbrae and the City of San Bruno. And this agreement would formalize a partnership between the two cities to support the collaboration on some of our largest scaled events. The outline of the partnership agreement focuses on strengthening citizen engagement while still expanding programming and maximizing the use of our public resources. So rather than duplicating events and services in each city, the goal is to combine efforts to create a greater impact for residents, especially given how closely connected the two communities are. Millbrae Central Park and San Bruno City Park are located only about 1.5 miles apart. So we'll get into some of the specific event examples in the upcoming slides, but please go to the next slide. But let's go over just a little bit of background. So something that is pretty obvious, and as you know, Millbrae and San Bruno have a shared geographical boundary. And because of this, residents regularly attend programs and events in both cities. It's also no secret that we have connected regional access. That's through BART, Caltrain, and of course, El Camino Real. With all this, we already have had a bit of history of event collaboration between our two jurisdictions. Next slide. And so we wanted to note just some of our prior success. So in June of 2025, the City of San Bruno and the City of Millbrae partnered on a Juneteenth celebration, which was held in San Bruno City Park. This event included entertainment, educational programming, food, and activities for all ages. And then following the success of that collaboration, San Bruno residents and some of San Bruno's community leaders participated in Millbrae's 4th of July celebration last year. So these collaborations increased attendance for both events, and which in turn supported event vendors, such as our local food truck vendors who do attend the Millbrae 4th of July park concert. Of course, having food trucks there and food just help make the event more robust. And again, it's great to support them with lots of folks coming to these events. Next slide. So you might ask, if we've already had some success, why do we need an agreement? So this MOU would formalize how the cities collaborate moving forward. It clearly defines responsibilities while ensuring each city maintains operational control over the events that happen on their property. Properties, of course, in each city could include parks, recreation centers, or other city facilities and city rights of way. The agreement also creates a structure for coordinated planning, staffing, logistics, and promotion. This helps ensure that both cities have clear expectations for what the other city will be providing. Again, the goal is to have additional engagement opportunities for residents of both cities without duplicating efforts. Next slide. Last city council meeting, we did speak a lot about events. And so we know that Millbrae has many, many events. So what's important here? Which of these events are included in this partnership? If we look at the ones hosted in San Bruno, as part of this partnership, we are looking at Dia de los Niños, which does take place in April. Juneteenth, of course, held in June. And Dia de los Muertos, held either in October or November, depending on the year. By the way, the events that are hosted in San Bruno are done by the Community Service Department, which in San Bruno does include the San Bruno Library. So I just wanted to point them out as they play a big role in the different program successes. And then again, as part of this agreement, part of this partnership, the events that would be hosted in Millbrae would be the Millbrae Art Show, which we just had this past weekend, so hopefully some of you were able to attend, but that takes place in May. Our 4th of July celebration, of course, held on 4th of July. and the Dia de los Muertos held in Millbrae, which again would be in October or November, depending on the year. Next slide. The events included in the partnership are meant to be community focused and culturally significant. Events were selected based on existing events that do have a lot of good community engagement, but which are planned annually and which were suitable for collaboration. And it's important to note that all three of the events on the Millbrae side of the partnership, the Millbrae Art Show, the Juneteenth event, and the Millbrae Dia de los Muertos, those three are part of the approved Millbrae Cultural Arts Advisory Committee work plan. Next slide. So the responsibilities for these events will be shared. Both cities will collaborate on overall event planning and implementation. And the agreement includes coordination of marketing materials, event logistics, staffing, community outreach. Again, this is so that both cities have clear expectations for what the other city will be offering in support. Regular meetings between the City of Millbrae and the City of San Bruno are built into the agreement because this will help maintain communication and coordination between the two agencies. The partnership structure will still allow both cities to remain flexible operationally in case new needs do arise in regards to these events. And it allows us to share expertise and resources, and again, could help support the load it takes for overall staffing implementation of these programs. Next slide. Partnership structure is important. So as part of this agreement, each city maintains control over events in its jurisdiction. Employees and contractors remain under the respective agencies. So just to give it a little example of this is, if San Bruno did decide to rent a jumpy house for our 4th of July event, they, of course, would ensure that they have the contract and the correct insurance set under them, and then, of course, would give Millbrae any documentation we require, as it would be at our parks. Again, this will keep contractors under their respective agencies. And then along those same lines, this agreement also contains standard administrative procedures, including insurance, but also indemnification language, amendment procedures if needed, and termination provisions if ever determined necessary. The agreement is structured as a resource sharing partnership rather than direct funding agreement, so there's no direct fiscal impact, as the use of staffing, facilities, and event support align already with existing current departmental budgets. And I'm saying all of this, but all of this just to say that having a structured agreement, again, supports appropriate risk management for each city, and still, again, allows us to collaborate. Next slide. So we do see this as a community-wide benefit on both sides, as it expands the type and amount of community programs without increasing our baseline service levels. The Recreation Department particularly is very excited about strengthening the regional collaboration between our neighboring cities. We all know that recreational activities and events can have a large impact on the quality of life for residents, which is why we continue in Millbrae to host as many as we do. Residents with this will hopefully benefit from broader recreational opportunities, while staff work collaboratively to ensure the efficient use of our public resources, again, including staff and facilities. And with that, I just wanted to take a moment to highlight the Juneteenth event, again, as a good example of how a partnership can use resources efficiently. With Juneteenth, again, rather than splitting our efforts and hosting two smaller events, with the city's combined resources, we were able to support one larger community event. And since this event does take place in San Bruno, This is, again, just one good example of supporting our resources. Since this event does take place in San Bruno, the Millbrae Recreation Department actually can still rent out facilities at the Millbrae Recreation Center, including our Great Hall, which just allows the city to continue generating rental revenue while still supporting a community-wide event. Again, that's just one small example of how collaborating can bring forward new events that both cities' residents can enjoy and not affect our baseline service levels. Next slide. So tonight we are here and we, with that, staff just recommends the City Council that you adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager or designee to execute a memorandum of understanding between the City of Millbrae and the City of San Bruno for collaborative community events. And of course, I'm here to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you very much, Director Moran. Any comments or questions from the council? Yes, Vice Mayor Rinaldi. Yeah, I noticed that we have Dia de los Muertos for both San Bruno and Millbrae. So are we each doing individual events, or how's that?
Yes, thank you for that question. Yeah, so again, I did mention, that some of these events are already part of the approved work plan for our Millbrae Cultural Arts Advisory Committee. And with that particular event, we've done so much work here to put on the one that we're currently having, including using one of our groups over at Mills High School to come. They have a large role in that event. And San Bruno already has done a lot with that event in their city as well. We looked at those events, and what we realized we needed was additional advertising, but not to necessarily have one or the other. So whoever's event happens first, we will join them out there and then invite them to then join the second event. And so looking at it, that was not one that we felt we should eliminate one of them, but we felt it was best to continue the work we're doing on both events, but just have a broader reach so that more people can enjoy, especially more people to come see our Mills High School students perform.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Oh, Councilmember Nguyen.
A quick question on the revenue sharing. I'm assuming that the host city keeps all the money from the permits and sales, or is that not the case?
Yeah, thank you for that. So these particular events are not like ticketed events or anything like that, including 4th of July. This is really when the city puts on for its residents. So we're not ticketing, and even for the vendors who come out, the food vendors who come out, they are covering costs of all of their permits, but it's not these aren't revenue generating events. And that would go for all of them. Yeah, so there's not really revenue coming in. It's more about how much is going out. And the majority of these, the city who is hosting does take on the lion's share, but we are working collaboratively, so we both felt like we were in a fair trade.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Hannah. So we share those 3 events with San Bruno last year. Then we're gonna share this year, and we're gonna share next year, right?
Thank you for that question. Juneteenth was really the pilot of this. So last year for Juneteenth, that was really the event we were sharing. But again, because of its success, we had some wonderful community leaders who then did join us over at 4th of July and from San Bruno, as well as many of their residents, because we had such success. So naturally, a lot of people joined us for 4th of July. And then in April and in May, both of us were able to have a presence, not fully because we hadn't completed this MOU, but both of us were able to have a presence already at Dia de los Niños and also at the art show. So we started a little bit, but we're really looking at doing this for the upcoming year. So Juneteenth would be the first really big one under the MOU.
Okay, thank you. I think a great idea, because we can have more people come in and help those food, something like that. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, Well, thank you very much. Yeah, I think this is a great idea to help, both cities be able to promote these events and, get more people to attend. I think it's a really great idea to have this partnership. And I see the mayor of San Bruno, Medina, is here in the audience this evening. So thank you very much for your support on this, and look forward to further collaborations. My understanding is there's also an aquatics agreement that's coming up in the works. So
Working on it, yeah.
excited to see that, to be able to allow more Millbrae residents to be able to use the wonderful, beautiful aquatic center in San Bruno and generate more business there. So thank you very much, and look forward to these events moving forward. So with that, this is an action item. If we can entertain a motion to approve.
Mr. Mayor, I think public comment.
I don't see, yeah, there's no speaker slips and no raised hands on Zoom, so no public comment for this item. Okay, so there's a motion from Vice Mayor Rinaldi, a second from Councilmember Riley. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember Fung,
Aye.
Councilmember Nguyen,
Aye.
Councilmember Riley,
Aye.
Vice Mayor Rinaldi,
Yes.
Mayor Holober.
Aye.
Item number 8 passed by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, thank you very much, and thanks for all the work on this, and look forward to successful events here in 2026 and going forward. Okay, now on to item 9. An informational item. As many of you know, this is actually my last meeting here as mayor and council member here in Millbrae. This is the third time I've been serving as mayor, and certainly had not planned at this when I took the office in December that I wouldn't serve out the full year, but a bit of a bittersweet moment. I recently accepted a new position, and unfortunately there are some potential conflicts of interest or perceived conflicts between that role and the continued service on the council here in Millbrae, and with the responsible decision to avoid any potential conflicts is to step down from this office. And certainly not an easy thing to do, not a decision that I took lightly. And, I'm certainly honored to have the support from the community. I've been elected 3 times. I previously served on the council for 2 terms. And then in 2024, I thought I was done. I was not anticipating a return to the council, but a lot of members of the community reached out to me that year and encouraged me to run again with an open seat in District 3, and decided to do that. And I'm really honored, humbled, flattered by all of the support that I received that fall from the community. So, I think we all are here for, a relatively short period of time, some longer than others, but, we're caretakers of the role here of the city. None of us are entitled to anything. So, I hope that we can all continue to, act in a way that, listens to all the perspectives here in Millbrae and really tries to get the best information possible when we're making decisions. It's certainly not an easy role being up on the council or mayor, but I think we really have worked very well together as a council. Coming in 2024 was a bit of a turbulent time after the recall election and everything going on with La Quinta, but I think we've worked very well to help bring the temperature down and to collaborate, but doing so in a way that we aren't silencing voices here in Millbrae. And I would encourage whoever ends up, filling the role, however that happens, to really come forward with a collaborative team effort type of spirit, and to help continue Millbrae's success, because we're really, as strong as we are, it's really a team effort to be able to get everything done here in Millbrae. So with that, I thank you all for, again, for the support, and I'm not going anywhere. I still live a block away, so I'm sure I'll pop in every now and then, and I'm sure I'll see you at events around Millbrae. But I wish everyone the best going forward. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind, take the liberty here to make a few comments. First and foremost, thank you. 2013, you were first elected. The legacy that you have left this city, you were mayor in 2020, probably one of the most difficult, or if not the most difficult time to be mayor. That was the peak of the COVID pandemic. Your leadership, working myself, and as you said, the entire team, what do we do? What's happening next? The late hours, the meetings every day, Saturday, Sunday, collaboration with the county, of course, and the other cities and our nonprofits, mass giveaways, lunch deliveries, dinner deliveries, and your leadership is very commendable. Also, I think of note is the Recreation Center. When you were mayor, the decisions that were made to move forward with the design build, keep the project within our means, but still have a very wonderful gem of a project for this community. Not just the architecture, but everything that goes into it, the programming, the layout. I'm thinking about the seniors, if you recall, should we put the seniors on the second floor, the first floor? Everything that goes in to, running a city that people really don't see and appreciate. And, I've really enjoyed working with you and for you and commend you on your leadership. And as you and I have discussed, your success is what has caused this decision. And so I would also like to congratulate you on your successful private career, as well as your civic career. And so it's commendable, and I thank you for that. We do have a couple of parting gifts for you that's been a tradition in the city of Millbrae. The first one is, as you know, Mayor, our city flag. I think you have the U.S. flag, not the city flag, but this is flown on the last day of you holding office here in the city of Millbrae, and you helped design this city flag, and he did actually, and provide identity to the city of Millbrae. And of course, our street name signs, and you have some of these, but this specifically has mayor and the years that you've been here on your latest term. So just a few parting gifts from the city staff and the whole team here. And again, I congratulate you and really admire your leadership, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for your commitment to the city of Millbrae.
Thank you very much. I thought you had to complete a term to get those gifts, but I guess an exception had to be made. Okay. We do have a speaker slip on this item. Ann Schneider.
It's been a while. I'm going to bring up a few more things that Mayor Holober worked on that he should get absolutely huge credit for. Remember, a couple of other turbulent times was the approval of the Gateway project. And if it weren't for Reuben Holober, we wouldn't have the 25% affordability in that project. So of the 400 housing units, the veterans preferred housing and the other percentage there, it is all on you. And that is something to take with you everywhere you go. The second time in COVID, I was your vice mayor, and we talked about working on a monument to celebrate 100 years anniversary of a women's right to vote. Following that, the Chinese Americans' right to vote, the Native American right to vote, and then the African American rights to vote. And then this year, you're mayor again, and we were going to try to work on that for America's 250th birthday. And you're stepping down. Maybe you'll have a tiny bit more free time. You do have a lovely family, but Paul Larson and the Quigs and I are working on that language for the Historical Society. I hope you will join us. Now more than ever, we need to work on making sure that we all appreciate all of us as Americans, our right to vote. You will be very missed. It was a really interesting time in 20 and 21, and you've been wonderful. Good luck to you and to the family in the future.
Thank you very much, Ann. I appreciate that. Next speaker is Rico Medina.
I'm not used to being on this side of the podium, so I mess up, forgive me. Mr. Mayor, I wanted to come here, not to say anything, but our council meeting's already over. So I'm here. Didn't know the MOU was going to be on that, but I appreciate the council's vote. I very much want to say thank you, and as I concluded tonight's meeting in San Bruno, I mentioned you and your family, who have given so much to community, to making it better. As I've said often to people, the role that we serve for that time that we're in office, whether short, long, or in between, is to try to make a difference along the way. Leave things better than we find them today. Go ahead, forth, and touch and help each other. Plant a seed for the future of tomorrow in any community. I stand before you here to thank you and to thank your family for all that they have and still continue to do. And I very much was honored and respect the phone call you gave me to let me know personally as a fellow mayor and as a friend and someone who I respect and has done nothing but positive with the professionalism, the dignity, the passion that this city should be proud of. And it was you, sir, that when we had coffee, and yes, I had to come to Millbrae for it, we sat and talked about an MOU. And as I mentioned tonight, the services within the Recreation Aquatic Center, that was your idea, over a cup of coffee, as I said tonight at my council meeting. Didn't have to post about it. We didn't have to take a selfie. We just went our perspectives way and made a difference. And now we're bringing, again, the communities together as one. So I will say, as the elected mayor of the city of San Bruno, I very much thank you, appreciate you, and we still have each other's number, and that won't go away. And on behalf of my community of the city of San Bruno, thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mayor Medina. Thanks for taking your time to come over and joining us this evening. Okay. With that, unless there's any other comments, I don't see any other public comments. Public comment is closed. Oh, sure, if anyone on the council would like to speak, you're welcome to. Yeah. Vice Mayor Rinaldi.
Thanks, Mayor Holober. Just want to thank you for all the guidance, wisdom, and stepping up for the community. 2024, you didn't have to do it. A lot of people came and asked you to serve again, and it's just a testament to your care for the community, dedication to the community, the fact that you've invested over a decade here in Millbrae making such a difference. Not only that, your family's legacy here. To Richard, you and Nadia raised one heck of a good man. And thank you so much. You really are a victim of your own success. So that's it. Thanks.
Very much, Vice Mayor. Oh, Councilmember Riley.
Thank you, Mayor. Since 2012, I know you because your daddy knocked on my door. And I was shocked. Wow, there's such a young age wants to give back to our community, give back to our city. Of course, I'm fully support you since 2012. And appreciate you call me personally, let me know you're going to leave us. Usually that. So I was feel sad. But also I'm happy for you because you found a good job and you can support your lovely family. Your contribution and leadership is inspire us, inspire me. So we're gonna do good for Millbrae. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Councilmember. Oh, Councilmember Nguyen.
Thank you, Mayor Holober. It's been an absolute pleasure working with you. A couple of comments. One is you didn't have to step up in the last round for election, but you did. And I'm very thankful that you did because it has a huge impact on our community. So we have a lot of comments already about your accomplishments, but I want to focus on the present, possibly the future. It's really the values that stick out because we can vote on whatever in the past, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but we can count on your values, right? And two things stuck out. One is your consistency, right, which is, in my opinion, pretty good, and that transparency, the consistency. So we know where we're getting from you, right? And the second thing is the impartiality. Like, I can always trust that you're going to be impartial. Like you talked about earlier when you opened, you look at everything, And it's not just what you're saying now, but I observed through action, right? I observed through your past voting history, what you've done that backs up the claim that you made just now about looking at everything. So you did do that. So that consistency and the impartiality creates really good decision-making, in my opinion. And then you've tied it all together with effective communication so the public understands everything. And that's really what sticks out. And it's going to be sorely missed. And I think going forward, it's going to be tough shoes to fill, whoever decides to do it if we go that direction. So if that does happen, I can only hope someone has that ability that you displayed here. So thank you for everything, and good luck on your endeavors.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Reuben.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yes, Councilmember Fung.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that everybody had a chance, and I just want to take a moment and thank you. Just going back to 6 years ago when I first inquired about the possibility of public service, and you're one of the earliest one to have encouraged me to serve, and then I was very thankful for that. And that was the year when you were mayor, and so I was, very touched by your dedication. Obviously, public service runs in your family, entire family. And certainly we also talked about this, and I certainly hope that will continue. I noticed that, it's, this is something that everyone has to take up on their own. And you certainly did. And mind you, you didn't have to, but you chose to. And you've committed yourself to it. And that's what's commendable. And then fast forward to 2024, and I sort of turned the table a little bit and go back to try to ask you to come out and to serve the community at a time of need. Really, it's a need, and we needed the experience on this council to help guide this council and the city through some challenging times, and you were kind enough to agree to do so, and I'm very thankful for that as well. And so, with that, we certainly have put the city in a much stronger footing in the last few years, and really thank you for that commitment and that effort and that sacrifice that you made. And I wish you plenty of success in your future endeavor, whatever that might be. I certainly hope there'll be another chapter in your life at which we can cross paths in this public realm, so that we can continue to serve the city and the community that we both love. Thank you very much, Mayor, and it was a pleasure working with you.
Thank you very much. Very touched by all these comments. Yeah, it really has been an honor to serve here for over 10 years on this council. About half of my adult life I've been a council member here in Millbrae, which is, I feel like my life is flashing before my eyes right now. But, like as was mentioned, I live right one block from here, and I'm sure I will see you all plenty of times and try to find other ways, to remain involved here. It's really been an honor, and I appreciate it from all of you. But I think we're in strong hands right now. I think the city's in good shape. Our budget has been strong. I think we've made a lot of good decisions to put us in the position where we are. And I wish all the success to the council. I think, everybody has really grown. I think coming into the office in 2024, we had two members who had just been appointed, another member who had just been elected, really just getting their feet wet. And I think everyone has really grown quite a bit over the past year and a half since that election. And I trust incoming Mayor Rinaldi to fill the seat here. I think we'll do an excellent job in the role as mayor, and for the remainder of the council as well, whoever becomes vice mayor, and eventually whoever fills the District 3 seat. And we have elections coming up again in the fall for Districts 2 and 4. So, I wish everyone the success, and I certainly makes it easier to make this decision, knowing that the city's in very good hands. And I appreciate that. So thank you all. Okay. Moving on, we will go to council comments. And let's start with Councilmember Fung.
Thank you so much. I'm here in Sacramento, attending the Cal CCA's 10-year anniversary for the Consumer Choice Aggregator, which known as the legislative action that has taken by California legislature to allow clean energy to be sort of a priority amongst all the communities in California. So I'm up here to, I'm representing Peninsula Clean Energy, and then I'll certainly be happy to report out when I get back. But it's a bit of an emotional time in the last few days, knowing some of the news. But I'm confident that this council will move forward as collaborative and as successful and as focused as we have been. And thank you for your service, Mayor Holober.
Thank you. Councilmember Nguyen.
Yeah, I just recovered. I missed the last meeting due to a cold, and I suspect I got it during the meeting, San Mateo Progress Seminar, but I'm fully recovered now. I don't have much to report, obviously, because I just came back, but I guess I can say something about the Progress Seminar. What I've learned was pretty interesting about the AI space. It was actually dedicated a seminar on AI, and you hear these buzzwords, ChatGPT, but I was quite impressed because I work in the space of AI, and it's particularly hardware AI, so I know about all the issues with training models, objectivity, and all that good stuff. But on a I guess government level, it's good that we're even thinking about policy. It's important, and I even would support ideas. We know how when we look up any ideas around internet, Google, we have to cite our sources, right? With AI, there's no such thing at the moment. So I think that is a thing that we should address eventually, is that when you get this information, how did you get to that point, right? And it probably has to do something with prompting, but I'm very encouraged to see that being discussed, and I'm looking forward to seeing more actually going forward. That's all I got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Riley.
I went to Progress Seminar with all of you. Just like Councilmember Nguyen said, is learning a lot of new things, especially AI. And also, 2 weeks ago, we went to Beaumont's City Council. And amazing thing is they show us the park we went to last year. So they show us before and after. So I think in the future, we can do that too. When we build a garage, we show before how they look like, and I show after when we build. Thank you.
Okay. Vice Mayor Rinaldi.
Yes, I was able to attend Emergency Services Council last week. We were able to unanimously pass the budget for this coming year. Had a small increase in it, but I'd like to thank Mayor Glenn Sylvester for sourcing a grant. Helped out the full county. So thank you, Glenn, if you're watching or if you see the repeat. Also, we had an art show in Millbrae, which I was able to attend with my niece. And I got to tell you, the level of talent from the kids here in Millbrae, as well as the adults, was off the charts. I did get a souvenir, a photo book from a young student at Mills named Marvin Loom, and I'm leaving it over in the city manager's office to make its way into City Hall for whoever might want to look at it, or if you want to put it in a case somewhere down here. Also want to thank Chair John Hipley and committee member Nicole Tremini Germain for putting on the art show and the great job they did. And last but not least, close out by just saying thank you, Mayor Holober, for everything.
Thank you. Yes, I attended the art show as well, and that was a really lovely event. And it'll be interesting seeing this now as a collaborative event with San Bruno. Hopefully we get more submissions and a lot more work there and more attendees. So I think that's a great idea. Let's see. I attended the San Mateo County Library JPA Governing Board meeting. There was a budget presentation. It was not approved yet. That'll be at the next meeting. But one of the interesting new innovations that the library system has are these kind of like a library vending machine. I forgot the actual term for it that they use, but it's basically a large vending machine that I think is stocked with about 300 books. You can select which ones you want. And also they have, Wi-Fi, there's seating around it. It becomes almost like a little kind of a hub that the first one opened in Pacifica, I think, either earlier this year, or I think maybe last year. And it's been a very popular location because Pacifica has a sort of a satellite library that only has limited hours. So they are planning on opening a new library machine in Pescadero, which is, I think, one of the most remote locations in San Mateo County, in a place that doesn't have a dedicated physical library. I think as was mentioned earlier in the meeting, the Sister Cities Commission is putting on the Chilean film, edible, sorry, I lost the name of the film. Do you remember what it's called? It's about the edible forests of Chile. And that is this Thursday at 6:30 p.m.
Evergreen Abundance.
Evergreen Abundance, yeah. So that sounds like that'll be an very interesting presentation. The Consul General of Chile will be present. So look forward to seeing everyone there. And then in closing, adjourning this meeting, we actually lost one of the most famous, most accomplished Millbrae natives, Millbrae residents, maybe ever since the city's incorporation. Dr. J. Craig Venter passed away a couple of weeks ago. He grew up here in Millbrae. He attended Mills High School. He, by his own admission, was not the best student. Didn't spend a lot of time in the classroom, really preferred surfing and other activities outside of class, kind of barely skated through, barely graduated. I think he entered the military during the Vietnam War and came back and attended CSM, and that's actually where his academic career really took off. He went on to become one of the world's leading biologists, contributing to the first human genome, first complete diploid human genome, and the creation of the first synthetic bacterial cell. And I actually had the pleasure of meeting him in 2017. I was mayor at the time. There was an event at Mills High School because it seemed like every time there was a class reunion, he typically wouldn't show up for it. So eventually they were able to reach out to him and encourage him to come and put on an event at the Mills Auditorium honoring him. And actually there's a plaque now, and so it was really great to be able to meet him and to hear firsthand about his experience in biology. There's a plaque actually installed in the Science Building at Mills honoring his extraordinary journey from Millbrae student to recipient of the National Medal of Science and member of the National Academy of Sciences. And his story serves as an inspiration for all generations that just because you weren't a great student in high school doesn't mean that you don't have an excellent accomplished path ahead of you. So he's someone I think who really has inspired us all and has contributed so much to sciences, and grateful to call him one of our own here in Millbrae. So with that, we will adjourn the meeting 9:28 p.m. And I wish you all well. And the next meeting will be May 26th, 2026. And in one capacity or another, I will see you there, maybe on YouTube. But thank you all and have a good night.